Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be doing a snack knit kit that I got from Five Below doing Donette. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today you guys will be doing another snack knit kit. I can't wait to try this out. If you do not recall, in another video I had done the donut for Crafter Square, and that was crochet. So now I'm going to be doing the donut in knitting. Alright, so let's see what's in this box. I've done two of these already, and they're so cute. Instructions aren't too lengthy, it's just figuring it out. So kind of difficult if you are a beginner. It comes with stuffing, knitting needles, comes with the yarn, comes with the plastic needle, and then stickers. Okay, those are felt stickers, by the way. So let's remove the contents out of here. You have your instruction kit, and you have really nice soft yarn, and then I think so far out of the two kits I did kind of have enough yarn. You definitely need to be careful with how much you use of it, so you might not want to like just willy-nilly use whatever. And that goes with any kit, I think, because they always give you just enough to make the project, but we'll see with this one. Alright, here's the yarn. In the little pouch, you will find your... You know what I'm realizing? Oh, it's in here. The stuffing. You have your needles, your plastic needle, and then you can hear it rattling in there. We have our felt stickers. Okay. Alright. I want to have a million of these. They're not etched with the size, so I couldn't tell you what size this is. I have a ton of knitting needles. I could whip out those, but So if you ever miss these, comment below. I'll try to find out the size of them. Alright, so this booklet, so this kit, this video actually is a supplement to the booklet. So if you want to make this donut, definitely get the kit in. I got it at Five Below online. I think that they're their own website too, so brightstripes.co. Okay, and so I'm going to explain stitches, like new stitches, at least 3 times step by step. I'm going to go through the instructions to see if there's anything that might be difficult in there, but yeah, highly recommend you get this kit. Alright, so in the booklet, it's always the same. They have illustrations to help you do the stitches. Sometimes illustrations are a bit difficult to look at. They also have the verbiage too, so that also helps. Alright, I am doing righty. I'm actually a lefty, but I always do my videos in righty because that seems to be, you know, I mean, statistically there's more righties out there in the world. So if you have any video requests, either to do lefty or to do something, comment below. But I mean, you can also contact me. I have my contact info in my about section because I don't have everything and I can't find everything. So you might have to send me your instructions if you need help with any of it. Alright, so let's get this started. So what I like to do, we're going to start off with our, it looks like the pink, well, this is the only yarn we have. Pink yarn. I like to get it out from the inside, and it's something that's kind of like hit or miss. So there are moments where you can pull it out the other end like fairly easy, and then other times you're going to be pulling out a chunk. So I'm going to pull out a chunk because it's not, oh look, I got really lucky. So I pull the end from the inside, not from the outside here. I think this is the, I don't know where the outside is, to be honest. Sometimes it could be curled in there, which is annoying. But when you pull it from the inside, the yarn comes out from the inside, and if it's spooled nicely, it comes out nicely. And it doesn't roll around. If you've ever tried doing this from the outside, you notice that your yarn rolls around everywhere. Here, you can just pull it and it doesn't roll around. Alright. So, with your donut, we're going to be making a 5-inch square. We have to have a tail of 26 inches. So, very conveniently, they give you a ruler. So, you can use it to measure 26 inches. Okay. And then this is probably going to be used to sew. So that's why it's 26 inches. What I would do, alright, let's pinch where it's at 26, like this. So this is your tail end, this is your feeder end. What we're going to do now is you can hold apart the yarn with your middle and ring finger at this point, right? I'm going to make a first loop that we can slip onto our needle. So this is how I do it. You can do it the way the book says it or what have you, but you want to take your 2 fingers here. You want to pull up on this yarn. You want these 2 fingers to be more relaxed because you want to get the yarn from here. Here you want to pinch this like all heck. It's like, no, you don't want to hurt yourself, but you definitely want to anchor this down. So this is anchored, this is loose. So you want to pull up on this yarn. You want to twist your hand over to make a little loop-de-loop here. Then I want to grab with my index and middle finger, this yarn piece, and we're going to pull through that loop. And you're going to pull it to where now we're just going to tighten it as close to this thumb as we possibly can. If it's a little off, it's fine. So mine's a little off, but that's alright. Okay, so we have our first loop that we can slip onto our hook. Here's our hook. You slip the loop on, and then you tighten up the hook by tighten it on the hook by pulling the feeder yarn, not the tail. I think if you pull the tail, it won't even pull. I think. Yeah, it does. My bad. Yeah, you want the feeder yarn. So anyway, I'm going to do this one more time for you guys. You can slip it off like this. Made a mistake, just pull the feeder yarn. Alright, so I still have the tail pinched. The feeder yarn is just chilling out in the wind. I'm going to take my ring and middle finger and I'm going to hold apart the yarn like this. I'm going to keep this anchored and tight. I'm going to leave this a little loose. I'm going to take my 2 fingers here. We're going to go up and then you're going to spin your hand and then you're going to grab the yarn here with your middle and your index and you're going to pull it through that loop. Okay, and then we're going to take that knot and we're going to try to tighten it towards the thumb, and I'm actually doing a better knot. This time it's like closer to my thumb. So if you feel like you need to undo yours and redo it to make it closer, then by all means. I just like to be 26 inches, not 26 and then a little some, only because I get really crazy about that. But anyway, so this is my tail. I'm going to keep holding my tail so I don't mix up the two. But I'm going to take this large loop, slip my needle through there, and then I'm going to pull the feeder yarn. The feeder yarn is attached to the spool of yarn over here. And I'm just going to pull it gently. You can hold down onto the knot. That way you know that you're not growing your tail, you're growing your feeder by pulling this. Okay. So we just casted on our first loop, first stitch. I don't know what they call it these days. Alright, so now we can move on to the rest of this project. So we are doing 5 inches in length. You have that ruler to measure it out. And then we're going to do 18 stitches across. So let me show you how to do all that. Alright. Ooh, and I'm working like it's my left. Hello. Alright. So, with your left hand, if you're righty, and then with your right, if you're lefty, I do this. I'm sure there's a lot daintier ways to do this. In fact, there is. But I don't. I am so comfortable being extra. And that's okay. Oh, man. Alright. Okay. So, we kind of tighten this, well, at least I tighten this a little too tight. You want to have a little slack here, because the idea is you have to fit another needle. So you can just easily pull down on this. Then we're going to take this other second needle, knitting needle, and you're going to stick it through the loop. So, the way that I see it is you always want to keep it crossed when you're knitting. When you're done, you can set it down like that. But alright, this is my tail. Sometimes it's just flapping in the wind. You can kind of anchor it down with your pinky and ring finger. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, alright, 9 stitches casting on. No, that's going to make it look different. I got an idea. I'm going to show you first how to cast on with your hand. Some people just cast on with their hand, no big deal. I like to do the needles. So, you want some slack from your feeder yarn. Anchor down your tail. And so, to cast on, all you gotta do really, and I could be doing this way wrong because there's a difference between purl stitch and knit stitch, but what I do is you take your, let's say 2 fingers again. You want to twist it to make a loop and just throw it up on there. So that's 1. So again, take your 2 fingers, twist it, throw it up on the needle. So now we have 3 on here. And you want to try to be consistent. Because I started with the needle, this loop is bigger. I'll show you how that's okay, because somehow it just tightens up. But anyway, now that I'm doing my finger, it looks different. But anyway, alright, so you keep twisting it, throwing it up, twisting it, throwing it up. And this is probably faster to do, because you know, how hard is it just to twist it and throw it up on the needle like this. See, I'm not using the 2 fingers, but so twist it, throw it up. Alright, so let's say you made a mistake, you want to undo it. It's easy. And this is the very beginning. You can just remove the number of stitches you want to take off, slip it off your needle, and then pull like it never happened. Isn't that neat? Alright, now I'm going to show you how to cast on with your needle. This is the way I like doing it. So stick your needle into the loop and make an X. Okay, so then this action that we do is always going to be oh wow, I'm doing it like I'm crocheting. Am I? Hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm actually doing this like I'm crocheting righty. Sorry, I just finished a crochet video. If you're righty, don't hate me. If you're righty, your feeder finger is on your right. Man. Alright. Alright. Starting out great. Okay. Okay. Again, stick your needle into the loop, have it crossed. So, when we are starting the stitch, you always go from back to front, because that would be anything knit. If it's purl, you would go front to back. Well, and it would be completely different too. But anyway, you always want to wrap from back to front. Okay? So, go from back to front. Now, you want to be able to slip this all the way close to your loop here. And you always want to have your needles touching, which is why when you hear people knit, it's always that clink, 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 which is probably one of the cons of knitting. It's so easy, you don't have to look at it, but then it makes a lot of noise, so you can't do it at night next to someone that's sleeping. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide our top hook over our back hook here, and see how it tapers? You want to slide it down the taper, and you want to make sure that the tape, there's no hook here, so that's the difference between crochet and knitting. You want to be able to pull this strand here through this loop with that taper. So as you're sliding it down, you want to pull this needle up, and then you can slide it onto your left needle. Right, let's show you that again. So stick your hook into your loop here. Always have it touching and crossed. Alright, right needle is in the back. So you want to go from back to front with the feeder yarn. Slide it down to where it's touching that loop. Then we're going to slide this top hook down this back needle. I said hook, sorry. And you want the taper to pull that feeder yarn through the loop. As long as you constantly keep contact with your needles, you won't slip your yarn out. So, for example, if I stick my hook in, my needle in here, I do all this back to front, and then I pull this, but I'm not really touching, right? You know, there's a chance that it doesn't happen and then you lose it. So if you constantly keep contact with your hook, your needles, then you'll be able to pull the yarn through the loop. So I guess that's a major difference between crochet and knitting, because the hook allows you to grasp that yarn so you can, you know, do what you need to do with that with it. With the knitting needles, not so much. So again, you're in your cross state here. We're going to put the feeder yarn back to front and slide down. You'll feel a little snap there. Keep contact with your needles. We're going to slide this down the tapered end, slip it over so you can pull that feeder yarn through, and then just put it over the left needle. Alright, let's do this again. Stick your hook into the loop here. Right, still touching, back to front, snap it down, still touching. Then we're going to just slide it down this needle, take the taper, make sure it pulls that yarn through, and then put it over the left needle. Stick your needle back in here, back to front, snap it down, slide it down, maybe see at this angle, have the taper pull through that loop. Yeah, just trying to show different angles. Stick your needle through the loop, back to front, snap down, still touching. Okay. So I guess because you're righty, most of the action is going to happen in this hand. So you can direct where you want your feeder yarn to go, really, if you just think of it that way. So back to front, snap it down, keep it touching. We're going to pull the right needle down, and we're going to make sure that taper hooks that yarn to pull through the loop. Okay, and we're just going to keep doing this till we get 18. I'm actually not counting right now. I should probably count. Alright. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Alright, so just to let you know, because I kind of did the rest normally since I went pretty slow with the first ones, if you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's options to play back, slow, or fast. And then also, if you don't need to hear me talking, you can lower the volume on your device and then click on the CC closed caption button. Alright, so that was casting on 18 stitches to your knitting needle. Now, it says, you know, that we're going to be using knit stitches to make 5-inch square. So I'm going to show you now how to do rows. We did the first row of 18 stitches. Now we got to do the second row. So let me show you how to do that. Once again, we're going to stick your needle into the loop. Now, let me just show you that this left needle has all your stitches. When you are done with the row, your stitches are going to end up on your right needle. So if you still have stitches on your left, you're not done yet. Once they're all on the right, you're done. Okay, so back where we were, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to show you a knit stitch. Back to forward, pull down and feel that snap there. Okay, pull through the loop, and then we're going to take that loop and pull it off of the needle like that. So that's how you make your knit stitch. Let me show you again. Stick your needle into the next stitch down. Right? We're going to go back to front. Feel that snap. Then we're going to pull the yarn through the loop. And then we're going to pull this loop off the needle. So you will have to bunch your loops close to the edge, but try to only release one. I've accidentally released more than one. Sometimes you can save it, sometimes you have to do it over. So let's do this again. Stick your needle into the loop. We're going to go back to front. Feel that snap down. Then we're going to pull that through the loop. And then we're going to remove the loop off the left needle. Like that. Okay? So we're going to keep on doing this. Until all of the stitches on this side are on this side. So it's good if you can practice trying to do this with moderate tension. You don't want to pull too tight because that'll make your stitches really tight and impossible to put your needle in the loop. But if you make it too loose, you make it very, it's a little wasteful of the yarn. And then if we're making something, it might look holier than it would be. So doing rows of these is good practice. By the time you get to 5 inches, you can take a look at your project and see what spots were a little tighter than others, and then you have to try to figure out how to regulate how you do it so that it could be more uniform. Alright, so we did that all the way to the end. So now we have 2 rows. Then what we're going to do is flip it. So this right needle, we just flip, and then now it's your left needle. And then you move your left needle over to your right needle. So that's all it is. It's just getting all these stitches off one needle onto another needle and then flipping it to do it all over again. So that's basically it, you guys. So same thing, stick your needle into the loop. Okay, go from back to forward. Feel that snap down, and it should snap if you always keep your needles touching. And then you want to pull that through the loop and then remove that loop off the needle. So that's basically what we'll be doing for quite amount of rows. Alright, so it kind of gives you a number of rows you're supposed to do, but also, more importantly, especially since everyone's knitting style is going to vary, it could be that number of rows, but it has to measure up to 5 inches. So, and that goes with crochet too, actually. So if you can do the same number of rows the book says, or it could be more, it could be less. But anyway, we're just going to keep going at this same stitches until we have our 5 inches. And what I like about knitting is that once you get the hang of it, it's all feeling. You can feel the individual loops on your needle. You can kind of feel where you're able to stick your needle. So I like knitting when I'm watching lengthy movies. It's something to do, keep my mind active, and it kind of becomes automatic. So essentially you can make pot holders, you can make scarves, you can make table runners, and not even have to look. Obviously, if you change a stitch or you change color, you'll have to look then. But knitting is the kind of hobby I like to do if I'm not wanting to pay attention to it, if that sounds odd in itself. But as you can see here, we are just going back and forth with this same stitch over and over again. So there's not much we have to pay attention to. I mean, as a beginner, yes, you would want to pay attention because your tension, like I said, may vary, and you want to try to be uniform. When you're a beginner, you don't quite yet have a feel of the stitches, the loops. So you want to make sure you pick up the right ones, take off the right ones, you stick your needle in the right place, you know. So it's okay if you have to go slow and have to look for quite some time, because crochet I learned as a kid, and then knitting I learned when I was in college. So took me a bit, but now I'm just flying through it, as you can see. And that's why when you see things on TV and they just seem to be flying with this, it's because, I mean, they're actors, but you know what I mean. Anyway, at some point I'm going to do this in silence, because I don't think I can find anything to talk about this whole video. But I do want to leave in all this. Like, sometimes when you make 2 squares, like we did with the last kit, making bread and butter, I made the second square off camera. But here I'll leave this so that you can see, you know, my progress, how I'm doing it. Again, you can slow down the video if you need to. But again, this video is a supplement to the instructions, and hopefully I'll be able to help you out. Hopefully I was able to help you somewhat. Because I know, like, it seems all cute, especially in the box, outside of the box, and then knitting is it's a nice hobby when you hear people talking about it. It's like, ooh, I made this, and I made this, and, you know, you always want to be able to try out something and not fail at it. So if anything that I can try helping you out with, if you do have some questions, feel free to ask. You know, I'm not an instructor or anything. I just have done this for quite some time, so I figured I'd, you know, share my knowledge. But before I complete this in silence, I just wanted you to see so far what we have. It's always going to end up bigger than how we started. You know, it's a little crazy, but so knit stitches look like this. And you can see, I think each little, you see how it kind of like goes like in a zigzag. So that would be 2 rows, if that helps. Alright, let me get some more yarn, and I'm going to do this in silence. Alright, so I knitted up to almost up to 5 inches. I'm going to do one more round, but this is where we are going to be casting off the last row, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But yeah, so like I said, we're going to count the rows, and I'm going to tell you that, like, you know, there's more than 33. So like the quickest way to do it, because you can see this better if you see the zigzags as 1, but it's actually 2. So we'll count it here. This we can kind of count as 1 maybe if you want. But anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So let's count that as 19, and then this is 1 of 20. So there's actually 40 that I did to get to 5 inches. So I guess I'm a tighter knitter than they are. But it's 5 inches. So let me show you how to cast off. And the way that I kind of know what side I'm counting on is that when we started with just the stitches on the needle, the needle was like this. We had all the stitches here, and then the tail end was here. So this is what I consider as the front side. This is the rear side. So this would be the second out of the zigzag. This would be the top part of it. So if you can kind of think of about it that way. Sometimes this all gets me confused, but we're going to do the last parts of casting off. And it's so funny that these instructions actually taught me how to do an easier way, because in the past I was doing it such a ridiculous way. But anyway, so you're going to take your group of stitches here. We're going to put our needle through the first loop. We're going to do a knit stitch, so back and front, snap it down, slide your needle, keep it connecting, and slide it over the right needle, and then slip off the left loop. Okay, like we've been doing this whole entire time. Then I'm going to do it again. So stick your needle into the next loop. We're going to go back to front, snap down, keep your needles in contact. Then slide your needle down over the right needle, and then we're going to slip off the left loop. So we have 2. Now what we're going to do, you're going to take that first stitch we made, you're going to stick your left needle into the loop like this, and we're going to slip it over the second loop that we made. All right, and then remove it off the left needle. Then we're going to knit again. So into the next loop, let's do our knit stitch, back to front, snap down, pull it over the right needle, remove off the left needle, and then we're going to do this again. You want to put your left needle through this loop here, and we're going to pull it over the last loop we just made, like that. So we're going to keep doing that one more time with you guys. Stick your right needle into the left loop. We're going to do our knit stitch, back and front, snap it down, keep contact with your needle, slide it over the right needle, remove the loop off the left, then stick your left needle through this loop here. We're going to pull it over the last loop we made, and then slip off the left needle, and we're going to keep doing that until we get all the way down. So if you need to see that back, rewind it, play it back slowly, but I'm going to pretty much repeat the same steps until all my stitches are gone. And it looks like we have a decent amount of yarn left, so that's always good. Okay, onto our last stitch. Now, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna cut, since we have a decent amount of yarn left, I'm gonna cut a long piece because I'm not too sure what's happening right now. So, and I'm gonna show you how to fasten it off. So cut it. You can set this yarn aside. Take it out if you need it for later. But we are going to fasten off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the yarn over the right needle, and I'm going to slip like we did this loop over this yarn over we have here, and then slip off the left needle, but I'm going to pull this all the way out. Okay. And then I'm going to tighten up this loop to give it like a knot. And there, we've closed off our square. Yay! Alright, so like I said, the tail end when I started was on the left. So this is the right side for me. I just like keeping, you know, they both look similar. I just like keeping things a certain way. With certain stitches, you will see a difference. In this case, not so much. Alright, so now we have to fold the corners of the square to the center. Alright, so actually, we're going to be flipping this on the wrong side. Or if you don't really care, you can just use that side you're on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is fold the corners to the center. Okay, just like this. Then we have to stitch the edges together and also stitch around the corners to round them, leaving one edge open so I can fill with stuffing. So let's just say this edge here I'm going to leave open, and then I'm going to sew this together and these together. So whip out your needle, and this might be more than enough, but I had that just in case it's not. Okay, I don't know necessarily what it means by rounding edges. I'm not really a good sewer, as I always say. Okay, so I'm going to try to match stitch for stitch. That way I know it's somewhat even. Yeah, so let's just sew these together. Okay, and then we're gonna have to go back. So we're gonna do a crisscross here. on some here. I'm going to sew this other side. Oh, so we have to round. Oh my lord. Guess I should have done that. Alright, while we're here, we're gonna round the edges. I didn't round this one because I didn't understand what the heck. So once you hit the corner, skip a few rows so you can round that edge. That's great. If I have enough, I'll go back there and I'll just make that round. Okay, so now that I'm here, I'm gonna do this side. If I end up not needing this, I can just tuck this in. And then these sides are harder to do because it's on the long side, so there's not really stitches you can follow. You can try following the rows, but they get so lost like this. So right, now that we're at this end, now we're gonna skip a few rows and we're gonna round this off as well. And then I'm gonna try to go back to that other end there and curve off that corner because I didn't. At any rate, we still have this yarn if I run out of the yarn here. Okay. Then this one side is gonna have massive stitching, but that's fine. You know, the next donut I make, I'll not make so stitchy. All right. And then this is getting kind of short, so I am just going to tie this off to the yarn that I had. So that works out. All right, so then next when we come in, we're going to, oh, all right, now it's saying to turn it inside out. So I am getting the wrong side. It's okay. So, oh, and then you're gonna hide the corners. Okay. It still looks like a square to me. Alright. Add the stuffing and stitch the gap closed. I'm just gonna put all of this in here. I like my things like this, very firm. But you can also save it. If you don't mind it squishy, you can end up making another one. I guess for the most part it's round. Alright. So I'm going to stitch the rest of this up, and then we're going to move on to the next part of the instructions. All right, so let's finish this up here. When it's so fluffy, I don't know where to it's not as easy to close when it's fluffy. Try not to sew into the stuffing because it could pull out of the project and you can spot it right away. So, I mean, it doesn't look that great when that happens. I think, ooh, this is the stitch side, so this should be easier because you can just line up stitch for stitch. Those are the sides that I like that have the stitches. So we've got to do some weird sewy thing after we do this. I've got to bend that corner like I did with the others, because we didn't get to do that with this end since we left it open, but now that it's bulbous, it's like, oh, how do I do that now? Good thing I gave myself some extra slack because I totally forgot. If you forgot also as well, you could have just undo the work. It's so devastating when you have to undo it. And I guess in this case, because this one is left out, I mean, you're just gonna have that little bit, but you know what? Donuts are not all that perfect. And they're gone in 2 seconds anyway, so. Alright. Okay, and then I'm stitching it closed. We're gonna have to go into the center. So let me just work my way back to the center. And it says stitch all the way through the center of the donut. So I guess, are we coming out through the other side? I guess we are. So just do this one more. We're gonna go straight into the center here, or a little off to the center. And then here we're gonna try coming up to the center. I don't know where that is now, but just gauge it with your eyes. Okay. and then we're going to stitch all the way through the center of the donut, add a few stitches to create a depression in the center of the donut, not to secure. So I did it on this, I find this the yucky side, so this is going to be the top side. I'm just going to go around a stitch, so you see this stitch here, I'm just going to go around it, and then I'm going to go back through my center, and I'm going to keep doing that. It says do it make a few stitches to make that indentation. I might go off one stitch now because I want to make a bigger depression. So hopefully I can do this. I'm going to do this one on this side. I'm going to come back in on the other side. But you play it by ear. You see your project and how it's turning out. Maybe your stuffing is not as stuffing as mine. If that makes any sense. But I'm going to try to do, like, use 3 stitches. I might do like a cross too. I am running out of yarn as well, so I gotta watch out for that. But I just want to make sure that my indentation is really, yeah. So I'm gonna try to do 2 more, do a cross. So I'm gonna use the stitches to guide you with that. Okay, and then when I do my last one, I'm going to figure out a knot situation here. So, bear with me. This is the last loop I'm making. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to do my knot somewhere, and this is really running out of space, so I'm just going to go around a stitch. Okay, I'm going to try to pull this through because there is a little bit left. I'm just going to slip that into the loop a couple of times, and I'm going to pull it and try to make a tight knot. Okay, like that. And then somehow, can I slip this back on? Or maybe I can try fishing it into the project by doing a little yarn over on the needle and then dragging it into the donut. It might work, it might not work. But usually when you buy, if you go a little extra and you buy the accessories to knitting, they do have little needle hooks. Or you can just get a crochet needle. See there, I just hit it. Alright, so it's a little odd shaped, but I can manipulate the shape. It's mostly due to my sewing of the corner. So, but as you can see here, it's pretty much close to a donut. Alright, so now with several blue and red stitch several blue and red sprinkles onto the surface of the donut. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. We're just gonna do a real quick thing. Okay. Now we have this, right? I'm gonna make long sprinkles, but I'm just gonna take portions just under the surface of my donut. Try to avoid the stuffing, like I said, because you don't want to pull that out. But I'm going to slip the needle through. I'm going to tie my knot here and try to have the smallest amount of tail possible. I'm not going to tie it tight because I want to leave this loopy, because I'm going to try to fish it. I'm going to double knot, but I'm going to try to fish it underneath the donut by spinning the knot and forcing it to go under the donut as well as the tail. So you want to pull that loop and then tuck in that end, and then you will have like little floppy thing. Maybe I can remedy that by going again through it. Let's see, I'm going to try to stick. Alright, I'm going to wrap this big loop that I now made around the needle a couple times, and then I'm going to go under my donut and find a different moment to come out, and then hopefully that will pull, or not. Okay, well, then we're just going to continue. Glaze over. It's a glazed donut. We're going to glaze over that one, and we're just going to randomly do, I'm going to do like a two stitch spread for these size sprinkles, and they're just going to be randomly put. Oh well, maybe there will be double. Darn it, because I totally screwed that up. Okay, and then just randomly go about adding your sprinkles. All right, now I'm getting the hang of it. You want to make sure you spread these out and that you put enough of the sprinkles on. Like, I have no idea when that would end, because I feel like these sprinkles it looks like sprinkles. It's so cute. Guess it all depends on how sprinkly you want your donut. Oh, look, I accidentally pulled it. So now you can see the stuffing. I feel like there should be some up here. And in here. I like, when I was a kid, I would try to get the most sprinkly. I'd get the half sprinkled from Dunkin' Donuts, and I would try to find the one with the most sprinkles on it. Okay, so I think this has enough blue sprinkles. I'm gonna find a place in the bottom to tie it. Okay, so I'm going to choose a place like here. Then I'm going to go around twice and try to tie this knot. Cut it off. And I'm going to come up here, yarn over this needle with the needle, and then pull that, try to pull it down into the project. All right. It's a little harder than using a crochet hook. Okay, then I'm going to do my red. Oh my god. Dropped a marker. I didn't even use markers in this okay. Same thing here. Let me see if just sewing it makes it go away. It does and it doesn't. Okay. That was easier than the other one. And then same thing, just randomly place your sprinkles. Comment below, let me know how it's going. How is your donut coming along? I can't wait to put the eyes on this donut. I wish I had the other one I did from the Dollar Tree, because it's a completely different style. It's in crochet. So it'd be cool to just check out the differences in the two. and then kind of nearing the stop point. Maybe the stop point was a long time ago, a few sprinkles ago, but you know me, like, I just like to put a ton of once you get me going, I can't stop. Alright, but we are at a stopping point now, so let me just, looks like there something wants to be here though, so, and it looks like something wants to be here, and then here, and then here. Look, I think I just need to do a few more bits and then I'm done, I swear. Alright. This one I'm gonna go down here. Okay. And then same thing. Just gonna go around twice. Pull the loop. Okay. Take my needle. I'm gonna try to pull this into the project. All right. And stick on the eyes and mouth, and then you can use embroidery thread to secure it, but I'm not going to do that here. I just need to find a nice spot to put the eyes. This kind of looks like a nose. Stick this one here. Stick the other one. We're going to put the mouth on. Okay, right here. And that red sprinkle looks like her nose. So there we go, you guys. My finished Donette. The names are so cute. I do have one more kit left that I got from Five Below. Like I said, if there's any requests that you may have, please comment below. Also, check out my about section. I have all my contact info, or just my contact info, so that you can send me instructions if you don't want to wait for me to find it. Because I know for the Dollar Tree ones, they're always hard to find. So I had my viewers email me. So, alright, well, let me know what you guys think about this. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm just cleaning up these markers that I didn't use. but this is what she looks like. Miss Donette. Hello. How are you? Let me know what you think, how it went. How it went for you, how it went for me. Let's see. But yeah, there you have it. Alright, click on the notification bell for future videos, you guys. At any rate, thank you so much for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.